Hi, I'm Daniel Nussbaum with Z-Man Fishing Products, and I wanted to share a few rigging tips with you today for rigging our ElaZtech soft plastics on a weighted weedless swim bait hook. Now, this is a great way to present a bait for inshore saltwater fishing in shallow water around grass, around structure like rocks, oyster shells, and things like that. You won't get hung up, you won't get it snagged on the grass, it sinks slowly and it falls horizontally. It's a great presentation for all of our scented baits like our paddlers, our crabs, our shrimps, our jerk shads, as well as several of our swim baits like the minnows and the diesel minnows and the pokies. The best hook to use for rigging ElaZtech is a wide gap weighted superline worm hook. And the reason why you want to use a hook like this with this Z bend to it is because the plastic will lock in and it'll hold on that Z bend. So that's a feature that you want to look for in your hook. Now, a lot of people want to use a screw lock when they're rigging their ElaZtech baits, but a screw lock doesn't work well for ElaZtech. A screw lock was actually developed because baits tear when you run this lead weight through them. Now with ElaZtech, the baits aren't going to tear when you run the lead weight through them, so you don't need a screw lock. When you're rigging this bait, what you want to do first is you want to line up the hook and the bait and make a mental note of the spot where that hook point is going to exit right along the back of the bait. You take the hook, insert it into the nose of the bait about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch and come out the bottom. And because ElaZtech is so durable and tough, you can just slide it right over that weight. It's not going to tear, and then rotate that hook back so the hook point is laying towards the back of the bait. Come through the belly to that spot that you marked earlier and lay that hook point right along the back of the bait so it's nice and weedless. It's not going to get hung up. What this does is it gives you a bait that you can present in shallow water. It's going to sink slowly with an almost horizontal fall rather than a nose first vertical fall. It's not going to dig down into the mud or the shell or the grass. Your hook point isn't exposed, so you're not going to get hung up, and the bait's keeled. So it's always going to stay upright when you swim it through the water, or when it's at rest. That weight will sit on the bottom and the tail of the bait will float up. Now, the hook that I prefer to use for this is a Gamakatsu weighted superline EWG hook. EWG stands for extra wide gap. The superline is their stronger version. It works well with braided fishing line. It's a very strong hook. There's a couple of other companies that make similar products. H&H makes a flutter hook. Bass Pro Shops does a hook called the vertical drop superline hook, and that's another good one to use. Follow these few tips and you'll find it really easy to rig and fish ElaZtech baits, and you'll catch a whole lot more fish.